Josh Allen is 11-2 versus the Dolphins. It is complete, sheer, and utter domination when it comes to the Bills, Dolphins. But today, the Dolphins have a chance to rewrite the narrative. If you all are watching here in the facility, consider it a blessing because we have a fantastic show for y'all today to get popping. It's game day.
Like kickoff.
The kickoff. Oh, it's game day.
You know it's real.
Let's get it going. Hey, James, what is at stake for Tua, the man that is 1-6 versus Josh Allen? What's the stake for Tua tonight?
Dang, 1-6 versus Josh.
Yes, sir. The big dog.
He got to prove he could beat the elite quarterbacks, right? We paid you $55 million a year.
That's a lot.
Right? We paid you $55 million a year to get to the playoffs and beat elite quarterbacks and get over the hump to get to the Super Bowl. That's why we pay you $55 million, because we believe you are a franchise quarterback. Tua, on a consistent level, has not proven he can beat elite quarterbacks.
Uh-oh.
And tonight, you have to prove that. Josh Allen is coming to your building on a short week, the worst he's ever been. It is time for you to outplay these quarterbacks. Forget everything around you. Forget the coach and all that. When we turn the tape on and we look at the tape with our eyes, we need to say Tua outplayed Josh and his team won. Because we consistently say Josh outplayed Tua and Josh won. He's 1-6 versus Josh. But against elite quarterbacks, and I got a graphic right here that I want to show y'all. Against elite quarterbacks, the dude is average, right? And you making a whole lot of money, and you are not beating elite quarterbacks. I'm looking at the last one. 1-10 versus Patty, versus Joe, versus Allen. And if we add Lamar in that, you 2-11. Last time I checked, those 4 quarterbacks are going to be in the playoffs. Those 4 quarterbacks win football games. You are going to have to beat those dudes consistently, not just one of them in the playoffs. You might have to beat 2 of them, 3 of them in the playoffs. So you got to show me tonight that you can beat an elite quarterback, and Josh Allen is one of those elite quarterbacks.
I think he's got to prove to himself, more than anything, that he can beat an elite quarterback. But that's not the issue here, Acho. The issue is the Dolphins have a major Buffalo Bills problem. That's what you said. They're 1-6, okay? Not only are they 1-6, the average margin of victory in those games, they've lost by 17 points. They have losses of 28 points, 30 points, 35. They're getting embarrassed out there. Miami Dolphins, you're at home. You're on a short week.
Yeah.
You're in prime time.
Yes,
Josh
sir.
Allen is 6-0 in Thursday games, just so you know.
Yeah.
So if you're a betting man,
I'm
betting on the Bills. He knows how to play. But listen, you're at home on a short week in prime time. I'm going to say it again. You're at home on a short week, and you're in prime time. The Bills got on the plane Wednesday. They had 12 hours less preparation. You got to show me something, man. Like, look, I don't know if your running backs are playing, Tyreek's playing, Jalen Waddle's playing. You got to go out there and beat them at home on a short week in prime time.
2-5, where you at, big dog?
I'm going with respect, right? Where's your respect at? We talk about Tua as he's an elite quarterback. For example, when Mike McDaniel came there, right, before he got there, we thought Tua was what? Let's be honest.
Average.
Average, right? Then he comes there, he looks way different. Got some new pieces, some new wide receivers, and we start loving Tua. Well, show us Tua, because like I talked about, he's 1-6 against the Bills, but I got a better stat for y'all. Last year, against the teams that missed the playoffs, he's 10-1. Yeah. So you don't make the playoffs, I'm gonna beat up on y'all. But if you make the playoffs, you know what his record is last year? 1-6. So it lets me know, okay, if you're an elite quarterback, when you play elite teams, you don't win.
Good point, big
So
dog.
we look at him like, yo, this guy's an elite player. How can he be? All I'm saying is I hate when we look at players and we forget who they are.
Yeah.
Because I didn't forget who Tua was, right? Before you had Mike McDaniel, I knew who you was. You was a double R as regular. Show me I'm wrong. Yeah. Now you got some weapons, you got a good coach. You going against an elite team with Sean McDermott. Prove it. You're in the same division. Another thing is, they averaged about 17 points against the Bills. That's not enough for Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 4 touchdowns himself alone last weekend. So, Tua, man, $55 million a year, show me you like that. Because if you not like that, we in the facility going to talk about it.
That's what we do out here. I'm going to be honest. This one for me, I'm going to say something that sounds hyperbolic, but it's real. MVP leverage is what is at stake for Tua tonight. MVP leverage. Again, as an MVP voter this year and last year, I am very, very, very intent, not just on watching the tape, but I'm intent on looking at the matchups. If y'all remember, last year, Lamar Jackson, many would suggest, won the MVP, and Brock Purdy lost the MVP when they played head-to-head. Y'all remember that game? Yep. Brock Purdy, I believe, had 4 interceptions.
In the rain.
Lamar Jackson, he went out there, he did his thing. Dak Prescott had a harder argument to win MVP because of what Brock Purdy did to Dak Prescott when they played each other in that head-to-head matchup. Head-to-head matchups matter. Clearly, Tua and Josh Allen will see each other once again, but I have to put the same weight on this Week 2 matchup as I will put on the matchup when they face each other later on in the season. For me, as an MVP voter, what is at stake is leverage. Josh Allen is currently tied for the league in touchdowns. He had 4 of them. Tua currently is in sole possession of the league lead in passing yards with 360 or so. So they will both be in the race. Last year, they were both in the race. Remember, Tyreek Hill stole some votes from Tua because everybody said it's all Tyreek Hill, but they were both in that MVP conversation. For me, as a voter, I am going back and looking at this matchup. If it does come down to a hair, if it does come down to a thin sliver of a lining, I'm going back and looking at their matchups. Tua, what'd you do? Because Josh has a worse team, he has worse star players, he has worse everything. You can't let him beat you. Otherwise, what does that say about him? And James Jones, what does it say about you, Tua?
And I'm with you on that, but Tua got to be the reason they win, though. You know, I mean, I like, these quarterbacks making a lot of money for us to be saying this is why he win and that's why he win. They win on like Tua got to be the reason why they win. He making $53 million. We should not come up here tomorrow and say, man, Tua and the Dolphins got the job done because Jalen Ramsey and the defense played well. Tua has to be the reason why they win some of these games, because consistently beating superstar quarterbacks, you're not just going to beat them on defense.
Yeah.
You are going to have to be the reason why they win. He has to deliver. He has to deliver in a big way tonight, or he ain't going to beat Josh.
And
Because Josh going to deliver.
Like, their team is better. Yeah. It's something you could argue before in the past, yo, Bills got a top 5 defense.
Yes, sir.
Yo, Bills got a top 5 offense.
Sir.
So, right, it's the leverage part. But when I look at it, the advantage is like, yo, the advantage is for the Dolphins. You got the better players on both sides.
Let's take it into the locker room, though, from a psyche perspective, right? Because think about, you guys have all probably been on teams where you've either owned the other team or that team has owned you. I take myself back into the Bears locker room. We could never beat the Packers. We beat them once.
Yep.
You know, like Aaron Rodgers, it's a fact. Like, it's something in your mind. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So it's like,
I own you boys!
and Aaron Rodgers is like, hey, I own Chicago, right?
Yeah.
There's just something that plays in their mind. And then, like, with the Chargers and the Chiefs, when I was there in 21 and 22, we beat the Chiefs one time in 2021. And we were like, oh, we're great, man. We got mollywopped the next 3. And it plays into your psyche. Like, can we actually go out there and compete with these guys? I know they're probably not thinking that, out loud with people, but, like, eventually, when you do something for so long, and it's the same result, you know what that is? Insanity.
Yeah.
That means you're insane if you're going to be thinking that you can beat the Bills. You got to change the narrative about it.
The only difference is, though, and that's a good point. I want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers owning the Bears, but it's like they have the GOATs playing against y'all, right? Aaron Rodgers playing against Packers, Patrick Mahomes playing against the Chargers. Josh Allen is a beast and all that, but it ain't. I don't think it's a super big difference. Josh is way better than Tua, but it's not an Aaron Rodgers compared to the Patrick Mahomes type of thing, right? Where you have the better team. Yep. I think all them other cases, the Chiefs always had a better team than the Chargers, in my opinion. The Packers always had a better team than the Bears. I mean, that's like 31 teams in the league. Anyway, so my thing is now it's close now, where you have the advantage better team.
Yeah, and to your point though, Shady, for me, as a Tua fan, a Josh fan, not as so much as you, but a Tua fan and a Josh fan, just a fan of good play, Tua, you have to prove what Shady just said wrong.
Come on.
Shady said, I mean, Josh is better. It's not even close. Tua, you have to prove that wrong. Thus far, Shady is right.
No.
If Josh has won 11-2 versus the Dolphins, not all Tua, but versus the Dolphins, and Tua is only 1-6 versus the Bills, how can you dispute that claim? And I want to dispute that claim. But at the point in which the Bills were 6-6, they had to not only win several of their games to win out, but they had to beat you.
At home.
At home, Tua, to win the division, and you allowed them to do it. Wow. Shady is right, big dog. Like, at this point, you have to close the gap. I don't think the gap should be as sizable as people are allowed to state that it is. But when you watch what Josh did last game versus the Cardinals, putting the team on his back, and then you watch what Tua did last game. Now, thankfully, Tua did make some clutch throws, including the 80-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill following a turnover. Shout out to Tua, shout out to the Dolphins for getting that win. But you have to be able to shut up the narrative that Josh is way better than you.
We're forgetting something else on a lighter note.
What's that?
Guys, the weather down there in South Beach, right? This is a real fact. I had someone look this up, and I didn't believe this when I said Tua is 16-17 when the weather is below 80. He's a below 500 quarterback when the weather's below 80. He is 17-3 when the weather's 80+ degrees. You know what the weather
Hold
is?
hold on, Chase. Say that. Because you just said that like that wasn't a gigantic
Huge.
deal.
He's 16 and 17 when the weather is below 80 degrees. He is 17 and 3 when it's 80+ degrees, above 80. You know what the weather is in South Beach?
What's the weather, big dog?
Above 80. I'm just saying, there's something to that. It's a crazy stat. I got it right here. I circle. I'm doing the James Jones circle.
Let me
There's
ask,
something like
because
that.
there's not another show that will sit with this much excellence at the offensive position.
real,
Again,
Shady.
this is 35 years of NFL experience surrounding me between Shady, Chase, James Jones, 4 Super Bowls that are anchoring me. So you got the running back, I got the receiver, I got the quarterback. You only get this in the facility. Why does that matter? Now, Shady, obviously you got busiest when it was, I think,
snow
10
game.
degrees, snow game, 217 yards. But when it is hotter and warmer outside, you don't have to warm up as much. You don't have to lather as much. You can just kind of get going. Shady, does it matter to you? Does it not? And James will get there.
What are we talking about? We talking about the weather?
We talking about the weather.
We are. Hey,
This is football.
the fact.
Man, listen, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying I know Andy Reid ain't coming there. Hey, fellas, hey, it's 80 degrees. Hey, we gonna lose this game.
No, but as an athlete,
But as
did
an athlete,
it
how does it affect
change
you?
any?
No, we playing.
It does for a quarterback.
Grass, what make quarterback? It might be different.
Yeah.
Grass, turf, all right, we gonna play. It's football. I don't know if it's snowing, if it's raining. We gotta play. I don't know how much that matters. I don't know if Tua's better when it's hotter and colder. Them stats are the stats, so I can't say I'm wrong. It's hard for me to be playing ball for all these years and going talking like, yo, how hot is it outside, right? Because coach, everything will tell you from day one. We're gonna hydrate, we're gonna get your rest. All these things before the preparation for the game. Yeah. But to talk about if he's gonna be better because it's hotter, maybe.
I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know, guys. Like, I agree from a running back perspective. I've been with multiple starting quarterbacks. If we know it's going to be a bad weather game or we know it's going to be cold, constantly, multiple quarterbacks constantly checking the weather before the game. It matters. It plays into your psyche. It's how you can grip the football. It's what you can do in the shotgun versus under center. And you still got to go out and play. I'm just telling you from a mental standpoint, like, it matters for a quarterback.
Well, you probably should bet some money then. the stats he got.
I got you.
He should bet.
Did it matter to you?
It's a mental game, all right? It's a mental game. I remember my rookie year. I remember Donald Driver and Greg Jennings telling me before one of our cold games, hey, bro, you want to put this on? You want to wear this? You want to do this? And I'm looking at them like, bruh, if y'all could play in the cold, dog, I could play in the cold. Like, y'all miss me with all that. I'm good. We're doing the starting lineups, and in Green Bay, you got like a door that comes down, and when they announce your name, the door flies up. So they say, James Jones from San Jose State. And that door came up, and that wind hit me. I said, Lord have mercy. I looked back like, hold on, man, is this cold out here? But after that game, right, because that's 16 and 17. That means you weak. After that game, you know what I knew in the cold? I was in there mentally, JJ, it's going to be cold. You got to play anyway. Yeah. You got to catch the football anyway.
You were also the one that got the cold banned.
The cold never messed with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Okay, Shade, I got to ask you this, man, because for 2 to 3 years we've been arguing about this one person, this one player, this one name, Baker Mayfield. So I'm going to personalize this question, viewers at home, not for James, not for Chase, for my dog 2-5. Shady, can Baker Mayfield win you over? Because it's been a long time. Can he win you over with the win versus Lions?
I think it will help, right? I do, even though I'm an Eagle nut, right, and a Hall of Fame Eagle player, I do have the Lions winning that NFC, right, going to the NFC Championship game. So I do have that. So it will help out, right? But I think with Baker, it's like, we forget who this guy is. This dude went #1 pick overall, right? Like I think we forget about that. And his expectation is so small now. It's like, if he beats a good team, is he crowned? Is he really, really good? No. You got to show me, man. This thing is not just 1 game, 2 games. No. Have a good year and show me that. Not going 9-8 and barely winning a division is going to win me over with Baker Mayfield. I've seen him. Another thing I hate is that when we see a player, right, for all these years, and then they have a good year or so, we want to change the whole narrative. No, this is who you are. This is what we've seen. Let's just talk about this for a second. Baker Mayfield, first of all, when he's talking and arrogant, that's the best Baker. I love when he's like that, right? Best commercials and et cetera. I need to see Baker be the #1 pick overall. I need to see that, something close to that. Because if this draft was all over again, he would be, what, second to last pick in that draft? I mean, as a quarterback you're talking about?
Got it.
You had Josh, you had Lamar, you had Josh Rose.
Of the big dogs.
Yeah, of the big dogs. So when we talk about Baker Mayfield, let's just keep in mind, and respectfully, he was the #1 pick in that draft. Let's not overlook that. So him beating the Lions, that might help out a little bit. Show me the #1 pick overall, what it looks like. Because right now, he's above average. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay.
But you say show me, and I'm going to show this graphic. He
Okay.
did show you in week 1 that he is a first-round pick.
Go, week 1.
Yeah, because it matters, right? All right, Baker Mayfield. There's 4 touchdown passes in the NFL. Let's show the graphic there, Colvin. Okay, 2024, there's only 35 touchdown passes thrown in the entire league, down from 2019, like drastically. Right? Defenses are getting better.
Right.
He's got 12% of the total touchdown passes. He's showing me in week 1, right? It's baby steps. You gotta show me, like you said, you're the #1 pick. He did. All right. It's a rematch, right, of last year.
Sir, let's get
Lions
poppin'.
are the class of the NFC other than the 49ers.
And Eagles.
Other than the 49ers. Other than the 49ers, just so you're sure. Okay, they only lost by 8. The Lions had to score 14 points to come back and win that football game in a playoff game. So let's not think that this Baker team or this Bucs team is just some throwaway. Yeah, they play in an easy division, but they almost beat the Lions in Detroit. And we talk about the Lions as a top 5 NFL team, right?
Right.
So Baker is also 7-2 in his last 9 games. Like, what else does he need to do? And I'm glad that you're saying that, but like, he's
What else
proven
he do?
to me over the stretch of 10 games, which I think is a good sample
wow.
size, that he is trending in the right direction to make that career resurgence. And people would already say he's already had that career resurgence because he's making $35 million a year or whatever. He got paid.
Yeah,
And
everybody-
he's got Mike Evans. He's got the weapons.
Yeah.
Like, this is a prove it game to the NFC,
Well-
in my opinion, not just the NFC South.
Everybody gets paid nowadays, like Daniel Jones. Everybody's getting paid nowadays. But I'll say this, though. In 7 seasons, he got already been on 4 different teams, right? He's a career loser, though. Let's be honest with it. Browns, 29-30, losing record. Panthers, 1-5, losing record. Rams, 1-3, losing record. With the Bucs, he's 10-8. That's the worst division in football. He's 10-8 in that. So when we talking about all this and that, third, you are the #1 pick. Don't forget that. Just because you're above average and you have a couple good games won't change that for me. So I don't know.
What will, though? What will, though?
I don't know.
What will? What will?
Couple
What does he
good
need to
years.
do? What does he need to do?
Couple good years.
So
Years.
One Pro Bowl in 7 years, dog, and use the third alternate. I don't know what that means to me. I don't know. No all pros, none of that. Everybody, all the other quarterbacks in your draft class are like that. Josh Allen, like that. Lamar Jackson, like that. Show me that, though. Because I think y'all taking away from where he was drafted at.
No. Because I got a real question that I want to ask y'all. Because when Jared Goff left the Rams, we kind of was looking at him like he ain't a good quarterback, and he had been to a Super Bowl, played at a high level, all that, right? And when he went to the Lions, we still were looking like, yeah, Sean McVay did the right thing. Like, Jared Goff ain't the guy. And then Jared Goff put a couple years together
Come on now.
of playing really good football and taking his team, a Detroit team who ain't been to the NFC Championship how many years? 30-something years to the NFC Championship. And a couple years changed that. And now we think Jared Goff is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. With Baker Mayfield, you got to play like this consistently for a couple years for me. Now, what I will say is this game is more important to his team than it is for any of us up here. Because if he goes out there and beats the Detroit Lions, now to his team, to Mike Evans, they are going to be looking in the locker room like if Detroit is what everybody's saying coming out of the NFC East and we beat them with Baker Mayfield, right, we believe in our quarterback. He can earn that from the locker room. But for me, it's not going to be one game. It's not going to be a player of the month in the NFC. It's going to be a couple years strung together where we're looking like Baker Mayfield is at an elite quarterback level.
Are we saying, to me, for me, it's one more year. It's this one right now because it's interesting. Like, Shady brings up a good point of these #1 overall picks, and Baker, you're a #1 overall pick. But I think, Shady, we have what a #1 overall pick actually does confused. Because I think about it like Jameis was a #1 overall pick. Baker's had a more successful run than Jameis. Kyler was a #1 overall pick. Baker has more playoff wins than Kyler. Zach Wilson was a #2 overall pick. Sam Darnold was Baker's draft class, a #3 overall pick. Josh Rosen was a #10 overall pick in that draft class. I think about Trevor Lawrence. He ain't really done nothing much for me. And Bryce Young, obviously very, very, very young, hasn't shown me. Mitch Trubisky was a #2 overall pick. I say that to say, like, I think we have in our minds that #1 overall picks must be Hall of Famers or must be perennial Pro Bowlers or All Pros. But the numbers just say, like, more often than not, they don't.
They're misses.
And I don't think it's hard for me to even say that they're misses.
They misses.
I think situation matters. Like,
100%.
I look at it like this.
Context
So last thing
matters.
I'll say about it in regards to this. Only one team has been better without Baker than with Baker, and it's the Rams, who have a potential Hall of Fame quarterback. The Browns have not been better without Baker than with Baker. The Panthers sure as heck have not been better without Baker than with Baker. And outside of the greatest quarterback of all time, who Shady knows well, and Tom Brady, the Bucs have had the most success with Baker than without Baker since 2002 under number 14, Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson? Oh, my
So, like,
Lord.
outside of the greatest quarterback of all time, Baker's given the Bucs the most success, the Browns the most success. So that's what matters.
And that's
to
cool,
me.
but, like, why can't we say, like, all them guys you just named are not that good? Why can't we say that? If Baker Mayfield was the number one pick, will we talk about him so much? Let's just be honest about it. Will he have commercials and all that? Let's talk about it.
Of course not.
You know why? Because his play on the field don't have us talking about it, right? So when we keep bringing his name up, it's like we bring his name up because where he got drafted at. It ain't because of what the stats he's putting up. It ain't because of the stuff he's doing on the field. It's not. He had a couple of good games, and now we acting like he's just arrived. So we gonna forget about all the other 30, 40-something games he had. And now, last year, they were 9-8 and barely got into the playoffs and barely won that division, which is the worst in football. We gonna brag about that? Yeah. Or he had a good game his first week, we gonna brag about that? We gotta be fair. James came up here yesterday, right, and kept it 100% about Joe Burrow, and he deserves it. But Joe Burrow is like that. You get what I'm saying? For us not to keep it 100 about Baker Mayfield, I don't believe that is right. Because we grade every other quarterback with the type of respect. And I feel like we give Baker a pass, and we can't do that no more.
So I think this is where we're at on Baker. I don't think the standard is that high for Baker.
At all, James.
So I think we can have these kind of conversations because the standard is not Joe Burrow or Lamar
he
or
definitely
Patty
hasn't
and all
shown
that. So
anything like that.
I think, yes, he's not up there with those guys, but I think when you talk about the standard that we really value Baker Mayfield out, that's why we sitting up here saying, man, he threw 4 touchdown passes, even if it's just 1 week, and the next week he could go out there and we can't find him, but the standard is not there, right? So we are not really grading him on the scale that we grade a lot of the good quarterbacks in the National Football League at. You know what I mean? So I think that's the problem with Baker Mayfield. You were the number one overall pick. And for me, I understand a lot of those quarterbacks that was drafted high that you mentioned are not good, but at one point, we watched the tape with our eyes, and he ain't splashed off the tape like he liked that with our eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Good point. But
consistently.
Now, where do y'all factor in? Because y'all not only were incredible football players, but y'all are fathers, so y'all can take this not just from the football field to life itself. Where do you factor in the situation? The Browns haven't had a good quarterback. I disagree with Shady only because I don't think all those quarterbacks are sorry. But in Cleveland, they all were sorry as it pertains to statistics. The Panthers, outside of Cam Newton for probably 2 to 3 years, haven't had a good quarterback since maybe Jake Delhomme. I don't think every single Panthers quarterback, but they just, for whatever reason, Bryce Young included, Heisman winner, can't find themselves a good quarterback. Outside of Tom Brady, by the grace of God, choosing to go to Tampa, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers haven't had a good quarterback, and you can probably include Brad Johnson, who won a Super Bowl. They had an elite defense. So with Baker, we're talking about organizations that have that haven't had good quarterbacks since the turn of the century, minus a year or two here with Cam Newton, a year or two here with Tom Brady, a year or two here with Jake Delhomme. Like, where do y'all consider that? Well, to me, quarterbacks.
I get that. I mean, but that's why they get paid so much money, because it's the hardest position in football, right? And the NFL, I tell like fans all the time with this fantasy football, I'm like, yo, football is not easy, right? I don't want you to think that because you watch some of your favorite players do it and they think it's easy. It's not easy. But as much as you want to pick them players that's not good, and you saying it's the team, if I put other players in them schemes, like you talked to Cam Newton, if I put Cam on the Cleveland Browns, they would be better, right? If I put a guy like, I don't know, Josh Allen, right? He's same class as your boy, right? Baker Mayfield. If I play him with the Browns, they're going to be good.
Here's where I disagree, which is crazy. Here's why.
Yeah.
Here's why.
I agree, yeah.
Remember, hold on to 5, and viewers at home, please remember this. The Browns were 1-31. That was their record prior to Baker Mayfield showing up.
They weren't.
They were 1-31. Hugh Jackson, I believe, had an 0-16 season. Baker Mayfield in his first 3 years had 4 head coaches, if I'm not mistaken. I may be missing some of this because I'm doing all this off the top of my head. Didn't really prep for it. But he had Freddie Kitchens. He had Hugh Jackson. And then he had maybe Greg Williams. And then he had Kevin Stefanski. So dude had 4 coaches, I think, in 2 years. If Josh goes to the Browns, where they don't have a coaching structure, don't have a managerial structure, have a different GM, I think that after 3 or 4 years, I think he flames out.
Say that note for Jalen Hurts, though. So when we do this, right, we talk about coordinators and all that. When Jalen Hurts has a bad game and all that, I want you to save them notes about who's the coordinators were, because now that matters now, right?
But I think the situation of the coordinators matter.
I always say this. When you're a good player, and I'm going to let you go, James. When you're a good player, I always tell you this. If I can drop a good player anywhere, he's gonna show me some talent. He's gonna show me some good splashes. If I drop a really good player in a great scheme, he's gonna look super great. You get what I'm saying? So the Patrick Mahomes stuff, if I put Patrick Mahomes anywhere else, he's still gonna be good. With Andrew Reid, he's gonna be different. If I put Josh Allen anywhere in the league, he's still gonna be good. But if he plays with certain dudes, he's gonna be better. Brock Purdy, I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, right? If I put him with Kyle Shanahan, he's gonna look different.
Really,
you get what I'm saying?
Really.
So scheme matters, but also if you're a good player, good player's gonna show you that.
And that's really good because have we seen Baker look sorry at every stop?
He hasn't looked sorry in Tampa, but he's looked sorry in Carolina. He looked
Didn't
sorry
really
in the Rams
with the new.
and he looked sorry in Cleveland.
You understand what I'm saying? And the main reason why I say that is because I was with Derek Carr as a rookie, and we started 0-10, right? And Derek Carr had offensive coordinator, head coach, year after year after year. But you know what we seen when we turned the tape on with Derek Carr?
Oh, shoot.
Earthquake.
You know what we seen?
Hold on, James, it's an earthquake.
It is rocking.
Are we good?
Something about Baker Mayfield.
We good.
I lost my life.
TV shaking and all that.
Lights are shaking.
Yeah, look.
All right, go ahead.
5.0 earthquake, which y'all just
It's still
witnessed
going
us
a little
navigate in real time. That's why the cameras are shaking.
Oh, my gosh.
Cameras are still shaking.
No doubt.
James talking about Baker Mayfield. We about to lose our lives. This is crazy, man.
That's Acho's fault. He had this topic. But Derek
I don't
Carr
like you talking about Baker Mayfield like that.
Derek Carr had the same situations that Baker Mayfield had. And you know what we've seen with Derek Carr? A really good football player.
At times. But here's what I would also suggest. We've seen Jared Goff be sorry at every location, too. Ooh. Do we want to talk about it? Do we want to talk about 0-7?
He be like sorry with the
He was
the Lions?
3-10-1.
Hey, we're not. Listen, at the end of the day,
Super Bowl
we're
and
not,
the NFC
we're not
Championship.
we're not talking about Baker Mayfield. You guys are talking about Baker Mayfield like he's some elite quarterback. That's what I'm not saying. That's what Acho's not saying. He has made strides to get into the top half of the league based on his play in the last 9 games. That's what we're talking about.
Hold on. I don't know if y'all got on y'all's phones the emergency alert. Earthquake detected. Drop, cover, hold on, protect yourself.
USGS alert.
A
little late.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.